Hello and welcome once again to Exit Strategy. This is the podcast where we ask comedians, what would you do with your life if comedy was no longer a part of it? Special show today, something we've never ever done before. Very excited. We went on the road. We went on location for this interview. Left the confines of the studio of where I am most comfortable and went on in the field to gather this interview. Actually, what happened is my friend Michelle Biloon, who lives in Philadelphia, was visiting Los Angeles, and to make it easier on her, I said, I'll come to you. So I packed up, went down to the Hollywood district of Hollywood. I went to her hotel room, and we recorded a little interview, and I got to chit-chat with her. I don't get to do it as much as I'd like to, because obviously she doesn't live in Los Angeles anymore. But when she is in town, it's nice to catch up with Michelle Biloon and see what she's doing. Now, the show is all about exit strategies, obviously. That's our bread and butter. But Michelle has a unique perspective on exiting comedy because she has actually had to deal with this concept and had to actually really face it face to face. Michelle, a few years ago, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and is now grappling with how that affects her ability to perform comedy. After all these years, now she's got this obstacle that is impeding her ability to do comedy the way that she used to do comedy. And how now she's had to deal with. All right, well, what do you do now? How do you grapple with this obstacle? And what I've come to find in this conversation is that she actually has, I think, a really good perspective on how to be present with it and how to deal with it. I'll let her do the talking about that. But I found it quite fascinating how, because it's very hard to quit comedy, even if you have these obstacles that are basically your body telling you, don't do comedy. It seems like there's ways around it, and there's ways to approach it with a healthy attitude. And I think Michelle's got that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does despite these limitations that unfortunately have been put on her. But it's a fascinating new wrinkle to this concept of what do you do when comedy's not a part of your life? Can you leave comedy? Should you leave comedy? Comedy's coursing through your veins. You've done it for a decade or more. Can you actually get it out of your life? I don't know. But Michelle offers a fascinating glimpse at what you do when your body tells you maybe to stop comedy. But I don't think she's going to stop. And I think that that's good for us, her, and the whole damn world because I love Michelle Biloon. And I think you're going to enjoy this interview. I know I did. I got a cookie at the end of it. And 5 stars, A+, would recommend friends. So let's sit back and listen to Michelle Biloon here on Exit Strategy. Don't go saying your address.
I'm not. I know. Well, I didn't know. I thought it was a sound check. I didn't know. I enjoy having my identity. I just saw someone logged into my Twitch account this morning, and I just love having a reason to change passwords. So try it. And I set up 2-step verification. Try me.
Try it. Go for it.
Don't try me, actually. Don't do that. I spend a lot of time trying to, steal up my online. Don't try me.
Don't try her. She's ironclad, though she does...
No. I want to uniron. I want to say, don't try me because I'm 42 and I've lived a long life and I don't want extra strife in it.
Michelle's come up with enough passwords in this lifetime. She doesn't need to do anymore.
You know, Edward Snowden got interviewed by somebody. I can't remember who it was, but he was talking about the best kind of passwords. Maybe he was just tricking me. He was tricking everybody so he can I don't know. So,
he's like, these are the ones you should use.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, I should just say, just stop sound checking with your social security number and everything should be fine.
I'm not that stupid.
Yeah. I've had my identity stolen once, and man, when it happens, it never stops not happening. It's just like every once in a while it periodically comes up because it's just once it's out there, it's out there.
I feel like I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I feel like I'm willing it into the universe to happen again.
Oh, no. Nobody's going to do it. You got an army of balloonatics behind you. They will take them down.
Oh, my God. If you know me, you'd know that'd be the worst thing you could call yourself.
The balloonatics.
Ugh.
Michelle, we are on location for this episode of Exit Strategy. Can I just say this has never happened before? This is a first.
I appreciate it.
Did it look like this is the first, or did it look like I kind of had my shit together here?
You totally had your shit together.
Okay,
and I didn't. I kind of helped. I moved my suitcase.
She did move the suitcase.
And I have a clean hotel room, which made it very easy to sort of swoop in.
It's a very clean hotel room. I kind of knew that you were going to be an organized person. I can tell by your personality that you're not going to have like a slobby hotel room. But there was a part of me that was like, oh man, I hope I don't show up and it's just like.
But it is not. It's funny when you think that about somebody, and then that is like, whoa, like. But no, I'm a very sort of like organized. I'm glad you thought that about me. I appreciate the idea that you thought that about me, and I'm glad that I over-delivered, let's just say, on my organization.
I am here to tell you all that I'm looking around this hotel room in West Hollywood, and it minimal wear.
I've been here for days.
She's been here for days. Like this, I would say that you have like the wear and tear of one day, but you're here on what, like day 5?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And I we'll see how this might be my new base of operations.
It could be like sort of Gordon Ramsay's like Hell Hotels or whatever it is. And really, the podcast is, you say it's about this thing, but really it's just to see how people live.
Yeah, I just want to see how. Oh my God, that would be fascinating.
Right? Wouldn't it be just find people in town and go, oh, I'm staying at this person's house, and then go there and be like, where's all your shit, and like, or their hotels, and like see,
I specifically want to see how all of my friends handle. Like, I want to see what day 3 at a hotel looks like for all my friends and a handful of celebrities.
I would never want to. I would, of course, be a guest on that podcast, but I would never want to produce or host that podcast because you guys, no offense to all the people out there that I know that I'm about to like sort of blast, but
we got to blast already.
I'm not putting anybody on blast, but I get so uncomfortable when I'm like in a sort of like I want to clean up and I secretly do.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like, you're going in to get something, and then I throw away all the trash. Like I can't.
We have a mutual friend who I won't blast.
Really?
But,
okay, mouth their name.
Well, let's just say okay. Anyway,
don't do that.
But she, I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll see her computer. And she is one of those people that has
the Reddit's blowing up already with like guesses as to who you're talking about.
I'm talking like
it's a she. She has a computer.
I guess gender is not an issue. It just happens to be a she. She has like 15 programs open.
Oh yeah, no, my husband does that.
20 tabs.
I don't do that either. And so some people like there's my read receipts. I mean, not my read receipts, but like on my all my emails have been read.
Yeah.
Like.
You don't have any number on the inbox.
No. And when I see someone's phone that does, I will take it from them and I will turn off the thing, the marker,
the little number.
It's called. Because but I wouldn't say I'm OCD or like sort of like, but I just like to have like my fucking I's dotted and my T's crossed.
I think
don't
it's
like
fair.
that kind of shit. I write lists. I have crazy to-do lists, so I make sure I know.
Yeah. And
as we'll talk about it now, especially since I'm occasionally cognitively impaired, it really, really helps that I'm already super organized.
Everything's in order.
It makes up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know where things should go. I know where things should be. I know when I need help. I know, like, and then if I have like, oh, what am I supposed to do today, tomorrow, next week? I know. So
this does sound like OCD, just so you.
It is. If you saw my to-do list, you wouldn't think it was OCD, but you would see that it's like, get your plane ticket for that trip you have in September.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you just have your shit together, basically.
Yeah.
But then I feel the same way, but then I really have to stop myself from closing all the tabs on that person's computer or like, see, like this clearly is an application you're not using. It's probably slowing down your computer right now.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I know.
I'm just helping.
That's what I've said to my husband before, but like it's... with all that stuff, like when people kind of like, I'm not against having tabs open, but I want them to be like when you're using them. Like I have like a certain number of tabs that are open on my
we all got
computer.
to have a couple of tabs open.
But I don't know. Some people it's just overwhelming for them, and I totally get it. And I totally get that for me. I'm like, oh, when can I? And maybe I don't get to everything when I want to, but for me, I just like to make sure that things aren't looming,
It's all laid out there. It's ready to be tackled.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, welcome to LA.
Thank you.
You come here a couple of times a year, it feels like. What's your LA? It
still feels like home to me.
That's good. How many years were you here?
10 years.
And then what do we overlap? I don't know that we've ever established
I was here from 2004 to 2014, but there was about a year that I was on and off living in Europe, and I think that was in 2009 and 2010, and I think that's when your group.
That's when we sort of started.
Arrived.
Yeah. Were you
your generation? There is. I mean, don't you think of it that way? You probably think of people younger than you, and I know you're not the youngest anymore, but I do know like
it's like a wave.
I feel like your wave happened around 2009, 2010, right?
And I totally know. And
Am I wrong? When did you start doing stand up here?
No, you're about right. We started gelling around 2010.
That's why it pays to be organized.
she consulted her this is when the new comedians came in. No, I think even we consider ourselves like a wave, a little generation. Like we know. It's like an unspoken thing of like we know who.
Yeah, who's before you, who's after you. Yeah, and I realize now who's after you, and you know.
Yeah, and then at some point you just sort of start losing track because it's way too hard to keep track of.
Oh, I remember
all the new people.
I remember who's below me.
You know the new.
But keeping track of people? Yeah, I don't know.
The new people.
Oh yeah, they're just like in one like sort of amorphous blob.
They
I'm
just
like,
keep coming.
Yeah,
they just keep coming.
It's all the same person.
Yeah.
You know, but not really. But there's some people I like. But it is all I'm like. I register like, oh, you're younger than those people I already considered young.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't.
Well, it takes a few years before they sort of find out who they are, and then also like it starts out with this huge group of people, and then like. They start dropping off, and then you have like the fundamental, like, okay, these are the people.
But I also think that a big thing that's
that.
different is I think that now when I started doing stand-up in 2000, it was a way different time than it was 2009 and beyond. And now people that start, it's totally different how people try to sort of make their way. And so it's also another reason like why I just kind of tune it out. Like this sort of like branding and like sort of like Insta famous and like all this stuff. And it just, you know, that's I think that's a huge difference, you know. So like the whole finding yourself and blah, 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 it just happened differently than when I was younger, when I started. And
well, it's so much of a relief.
I'm an old lady and I don't care that you know I'm 42. 1976 bicentennial, baby.
America. It just feels kind of nice though when you don't. Because you do worry about that at some point of like other people's little branding thing, and that's like, But then once you sort of brush it off, you're like, that doesn't matter.
No,
it's very liberating.
I think that well, I mean, for me at least, like, you know, I've done stand up for a really long time, and I started out club, you know, doing more of a, you know, in Austin, you know, through the club systems.
Yeah.
And then moved out here in 2004 when right before UCB started, you know, when comedy Death Ray was at M-Bar. And so I came up through that, which was a really fun time to come up through that. But, and I, you know, so it's like you know, it's like you focus on just sort of getting better. And I would say like now that I'm 19 years in, the last couple years is when I finally started to say, oh, how can I just be myself on stage?
Yeah.
And still be funny. And that, so it is kind of, you're doing the same thing, I guess, just not in 6 months like a new person is. Oh, boy. Oh, this is what you get when Michelle's fatigued.
Michelle's
straight talk.
Michelle is, her eyes are closed. She's fading fast. We're getting the...
I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't know why I'm sounding like this, but...
Because you're on vacay.
Yeah.
We got you...
I don't consider this on vacay.
It's kind of vacay.
It's not for me.
It's not vacay?
No, it feels like I still live here.
That's
I don't treat it like vacation. I don't do anything that's vacation like. It's not. It's as if.
Well, I
I
was
going
to ask you what because right now you live in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And you come to Los Angeles a couple of times a year, and
way more than that.
Wait, how many are you up?
I last year because I was very ill. I came a couple times, but usually I'm here every 2 or 3 months.
Okay, so you're coming
for the last
multiple
5
times
years.
a year.
Yeah.
And then do you don't even visit like old haunts? You just sort of like go to the grocery store? Like
no, like yeah. I mean, I do shows.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to do shows, podcasts, socialize.
What's your LA spots you got to hit every time you're here?
I don't. It's not a vacation.
You got to start treating this like a vacation.
No, it's not a fucking vacation. I don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't come here if it was a vacation.
Don't you have like a favorite?
No, I'm coming here
coffee
because
shop you got to hit up, or
I go to the one across the street. No, and especially now, I don't have enough energy to do extra things. But it's it's all about. I live in Philly now, and so it's all about sort of coming here and making sure my face is here, and I'm on all the good shows.
Yeah,
and
so it's work.
It's work.
Yeah,
it's work, and I go to New York now too. But yeah, so it's work. It's nice to see friends. I don't want this to sound depressing, but I really don't have, I have a couple friends in Philly. I really don't have a big friend base.
Yeah.
So it is nice when I'm here too, when I can fit in, and that happens, which is nice. It happens a lot where I just get booked on the same shows with friends. It's great.
Yeah.
But I try to make time for friends. But it's also nice here that not only am I doing shows and being productive in that way, but also I'm getting to see my friends. So.
Well, one of the nice things about being a comedian is that every night you do a show, you're going to run into some people.
Which is nice, and which does not happen in Philly. I mean, it's just it's a younger scene, in age and sort of, where people are at, in their comedy. It's it's not. You wouldn't put it at, it's not necessarily. It's a lower stakes scene. I'm kind of in and out.
The Philly scene.
Yeah.
Well, what is so as Philadelphia is concerned as a comedy base? Is it just somewhere to just sort of be able to go to other cities? Then
I don't know. I don't use it as anything.
What do you use Philly at? Just as a home?
Yeah, my husband got a job at Temple, although he's about to move to Penn, which is close to we just bought a house. It's close to that new house, so it's nice. And it's actually an old house, 1892, but a new house to us. And but yeah, so I think people live there until and maybe they try living in New York. It's hard. I mean, there's a club that opened up there, a black box theater called Good Dude Comedy Theater, and they're fantastic. A couple comics opened it, and they've been bringing everybody in from everywhere, and they're great, and I love them to death. One of them is my house sitter, and so that's really great for the comics that I really like there to get that kind of exposure. For the first time, Comedy Central came in and did a showcase, I think it was last week, that they put together, which is when I was coming up in Austin, industry was always through Austin. So being able to start in Austin was fantastic because people were through. When I came to LA in 2004, I already had Premium Blend. Yeah. I already knew Dave Rath, all of that stuff, and just through Austin. And so Philly isn't quite there yet. So yeah, people have to go to New York. But the hard thing about it is also there's so many comics now. Okay, there was not that many comics when I was starting. There's so many comics now to be able to go to New York and try to get noticed and get on shows. I mean, it's difficult. And there's been a few that have done it, and I'm really happy for them because I always try and root for them and sort of signal signal blast, right?
Just try to get their word,
Yeah, if I like them, and you know what I mean, and okay, I want. But even then, it's not. I vouch for people for some shows, but even then, it's just too much. It's too many, and so it's hard. So Philly isn't quite there yet. There's two clubs. There's Punchline and Helium.
Yeah, but it's not like here where there's a scene. It sounds like
there is a scene, but I don't think it's a scene that's a direct pipeline to anything at the moment.
Well, it's is it because I'm kind of jealous of that situation though. In a way, obviously it's hard to get noticed and go to the big cities, but it can serve as kind of an incubator in a way that Los Angeles.
Yeah, doesn't. But the problem is then you'd have to decide. It just seems like a bigger leap, I think, for some people when they go. And the thing is that what I really liked for me, because I was here for so long, and I just felt I was ready to leave LA when I left. I just felt very stagnant, and I just. In my comedy and everything. And when I moved to Philly, it was kind of a big fish type thing. It was a lot lower stakes. And the writing I've done since I've moved away has been great. And then able to come right back here and to New York to sort of have that sort of constant, because I feel here, I felt like I kept doing the same sets over and over again. I was not sort of figuring out material. And so I think for Philly, it's really nice. But I can only speak, I do not go up much locally in Philly, especially the last year and a half. And I occasionally say yes to things. Yeah. And so, I'm not really in the scene. I'm not really plugged in. Yeah. But they're real great, and I like a lot of them. But also, they're all about 15 years younger than me. A lot of them. So. Well,
but you're the one that's up there introducing them to the right people.
As I can,
But that's a very good service, though. I mean, somebody's got to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
At some level, someone's got to vouch for you at some point. It just never.
I mean, if it hits a couple times for them, and someone's forever in your debt. Just kidding. That's not why I do it. But anyhow, it's nice to be able to do that when you just kind of have a you can kind of do that for somebody, I guess. But.
You're helping out the Philly scene. You're building it.
Yes, but I think the Good Comedy Theater is doing the most. They're really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back to that thing you said because I totally forgot about how you were ducking away to Europe.
Yes.
And then my generation came.
Yeah. Yes.
Was that a shock? What? Just
No,
all of a sudden I'm here?
I didn't care.
It's crazy, though, that we never met each other until we were both in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
I don't know that we ever met
I
in
don't
Los
know. I
Angeles.
think we did. I think we met at Sauce. I think I did Sauce before. But I don't. That was the first time we ever hung out, when we were sitting and having beers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
I never really interacted with you. And then I was like, oh, this, Jeff's really great.
That was a lovely time.
It was. We had a nice time.
They had, I don't know, it was nice because I don't, when I go to festivals, and I don't go that often because they seem like very much like party kind of things, and I'm not good in that atmosphere. But you guys got a house set up with just like 5 or 6 really nice people to hang around.
But I didn't.
Were you not at that house?
No, I don't fucking stay with people.
Were you not at the house?
No, I got my own hotel room.
You didn't hang out with us? Have I just
No.
conflated the story?
No, we hung out at that bar, that dive bar where
And
they
then
had
you
karaoke.
bounced.
I never went to I never even went to the house.
You don't feel bad that you weren't at the house?
I don't. No, I don't care. Someone could say, "Here's your free hotel," and I'll say, "Let me see what else I can find." I'm already not making money, so how about I just go $200 more in the hole?
Well, you know what you like.
I do. I know I'm in my 40s, and I like to be
Yeah.
comfortable, and that involves my picky hotel style.
And I won't reveal it because I don't want people stealing
and
your
this
identity.
this is a little more cash than normally I like it, but it's so comfortable, this hotel that I'm at, that I won't reveal. But it's just, and I come here all the time, so the people here, like,
they know you.
It's ridiculous that they're so friendly, and so I really enjoy it. Although they have very thin walls, and I hear people have sex at least once a trip.
That's actually not bad. That's not bad.
I mean, relative to other hotels I stay at,
Yeah.
in this hotel, I hear a lot more hooking up.
A lot more hooking up. Well, it's Hollywood, People are
Here to fuck.
doing their thing.
For the-
When you come to Los Angeles, you're just going to have to accept that.
Yeah, well, are you telling me about me coming to Los Angeles and what I should expect?
This is what you should expect. Listen up, kid.
You just patted me on the shoulder.
Listen up, kid. You're over on the East Coast. That's not the way we do things on the West Coast.
got it.
Well, I'm actually. I mean, I know you say you're not quite plugged into the Philadelphia scene, but as somebody who has left Los Angeles and left because this whole city's got its own hardcore vibe of hustling and all that stuff. Do you feel a noticeable difference in your way of life when you moved to Philadelphia? How is the adjustment?
Yeah, I don't have to listen to people talking about their scripts when I go to a coffee shop. I don't have to, and I tweeted about this the other day, when I talk about TV shows in public, I don't have to look around to make sure the celebrity on that show is somewhere in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was nice. That's what I meant when I said it was stagnant. I was sick of it. And that was the nice thing when I moved away. But now it's funny, when I come back, I feel more at home when I step into LAX than when I step into PHL.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I feel, and my husband feels the same way, because we just both lived here in kind of more of a seminal times in our lives, that I just feel very comfortable here. This is the only other place that I'd move to is Los Angeles, even though I'd have to get a smaller house. It's not quite so central.
Yeah, you might have to be in Diamond Bar.
Yeah, no way. I'll cut my budget to save myself from that. It has to be somewhere touching
within the city limits.
But no. So it's and it's great for my daughter, because having a kid, and my kid's very cute and fun and cool, and I'm like, I just don't want her to have to be associated with oh, does she audition? You know what I mean? I just
she can just be normal.
She comes here all the time. She's used to it here too. So I just like having a normal, being around regular people, incognito kind of a life. But in the flip side, the only way that makes it hard is that I hate having to tell people that I do stand-up. People don't understand, so you're on your way to work? No. Because my daughter goes to a private school there, and I'd speak to the parents, and it's just ugh.
What do you do for a living?
Yeah, most of them know, and they probably have Googled me. But I just, if you're gonna, and I joke about it, I have jokes about it too. But it's just that part is annoying, and so I just mostly just kind of it's nice. I just you can kind of just sort of have a quieter life. You know?
But that is something I hadn't even considered of just like somebody finding out you're a comedian can not even be a conversation.
No, you're a writer,
at
you're a
times.
comic, you're
an actor,
actor,
cool.
Like,
And then,
my friend is blah blah blah. Yeah.
Oh man, and there's honestly nothing that makes my skin crawl more than having to talk to somebody, just a normal person, about how I do comedy, because I do not want to talk about that at all.
Yeah.
So, you got to come up with like an alternate. You got to come up with an alternate.
I already
something
do.
else you would do.
It.
What is it?
I don't want to do that.
Don't. She's not doing material. All right.
It's not. It's so out of context and so not a punchline. But
no, this is like the late night shows. Yeah, I'm just like, so I hear you have a
Comics Unleashed, which I've done, and where everything is so scripted within an inch of your life to go get into your jokes. It's
so you
crazy.
have a funny story that gets into your joke, right?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't written a joke in 50 years.
Well, speaking about doing other things,
yeah.
The whole point of this podcast is to find out what you do. You've been doing comedy for a long time, and you've put in a lot of time. You've done a lot of things with it. Now, what if I took it all away? You got to come up with a life.
Yeah.
Not in comedy. What is your exit strategy? What path would Michelle Biloon go down?
Okay, and I've alluded to this earlier. The only reason this is weird is last year I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in the beginning of the year. I was very sick. I'm very sick, but I've gotten better. But last year, when I started getting sick in December, and then in January, I got diagnosed, and I came here right after, even though like 2 days. I had to, from the hospital, they had to let me out early because we had plane tickets to come here and go to Disneyland. And so I was here for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
you were here for 3 weeks, having just freshly gotten that?
But my husband and my daughter were only here for a week of that, and they left because I was supposed to do shows here and then go to Sketchfest, which I canceled. God. So I just flew home from here. But I was kind of at the point where I'm like, I just want to be distracted for a few weeks when I come back. A lot of my friends were like, "Why are you here? Like, what? You need to be doing something." And there was nothing I could do because you go on this sort of drug that all it does is slow the progression of the disease, and everything else just kind of like slowly, hopefully, gets better with time. And so last year, it's not conducive to doing stand-up. I was a lot worse, cognitively a lot worse. And I just wrote down, like, well, in April, you're going to start doing stand-up again. And I did, and it was very hard. And slowly over the year, and everyone was nice. Like, Patton Oswalt had me, like, do a show with him, Maria Bamford. Like, I just kind of was doing stuff that was easy and fun, but so I'd still keep doing it. But I thought that I was, and I still occasionally have these thoughts, but then I thought, oh, I'm just going to have to quit doing this. It's too hard. It makes me too tired. I still will not do a late set. I will not do more than 25 minutes.
Yeah. Just because it just is too.
I will not do 2
taxing.
shows in a row. I won't do a club week. Yeah. It's too much. And so I honestly thought I was going to have to stop doing stand-up, and it made me sad because most of my socializing is done through stand-up. Yeah. So it wasn't about, I'm not going to be able to get this or get that. It was just like, what am I if I can't do this? And I thought I was going to write a book, but oh God, I'm just too lazy to write a book. I wrote down all these notes. And I still might, but just the idea that was the only thing I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I would say I was really glad that I kind of tried to keep my toe in the water for most of last year. And then I decided in January, in December, I said, well, in January, I'm going to stop comparing what it was like. Because that's what I would do is I would do stand-up and I'd be like, oh, it's so hard. Like I can feel like my because I get tired at night and I get a little cognitively slow. It's so hard, whatever, my memory. But then I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to sort of like do stand-up how I do stand-up now. And just thinking that thought helped. So right now, my exit strategy is it's like I'm sitting on a couch. It's like if I got up. Like, I am so close to exiting, but I'm just sort of figuring out a way I can do it to just do it. And right now, I was supposed to record an album. I was working on one when this happened. And now but now I'm back to that. And in the early next year, I'm going to record a new album. So really, that's like what my eyes are on. Yeah. What my goal is to, when I was, they were going to like, literally a week after I was diagnosed, I was at Disneyland sitting by myself, like while everyone was on rides and just kind of like in a daze because I didn't really know what was happening. And fucking the booker for Conan was like, oh yeah, I finally looked at your tape. These are the jokes I like. These are the jokes that don't work on it. And like I burst into tears because I was like it was crazy.
Cruel life.
And I called up a friend of mine who writes on the show, and I just said, "What am I supposed to do?" And she goes, "Michelle, he knows you want to be on TV. Like, just tell him it's a medical emergency." So I did. I honestly still haven't done it. I still have not returned because I just was like, I don't want to have to think about preparing a Conan tape. But it's not something I'm going to do. It's been a year plus.
Yeah.
But so like that kind of stuff, it just sort of. It's a lot of like sort of not feeling, so all the stuff that would happen if you were to quit, I've already had to experience saying no to things, which I'll have to do all the time. I had to say no to a ton of shit last year that would have been awesome to do that I just couldn't do. And now still the same thing, like saying no to things, telling people what I want, when I want it and why. And, and if that makes it difficult for them, then fuck it.
Well, it's not really. They're not really important
to make it,
here. Yeah,
I have to make it as easy for myself as possible, and it's just like it's so selfish and great.
Yeah,
and it's just like, and so I'm kind of getting to that point where it's like, well, wouldn't it be nice if we could all do that? But also, like, thank God I'm not trying to support myself on stand-up because that would be completely impossible.
Well, have you found a level of power or empowerment in being able to say no and like knowing exactly what you want?
Yeah, I love it.
There's like no compromise at this point.
And you know what else the nice feeling is that I was at a point in my career when this happened that I was able to come back and get things that I come back and just sort of and still have because I've been doing it long enough and I know all these people to be able to still sort of do it at the level that I was before. Like I'm doing dates with Patton Oswalt in the summer. Yeah. And sort of like I have those opportunities that I can do, and it's almost, it's not, I don't think it's unfair. I think it's totally fair, but like I'm not grinding, I'm not. What I'm doing is not grinding. What I'm doing is art. And like that's it.
You made yourself laugh saying that.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's just like that's all you have to think of it. Like you're just like I'm not gonna get rich, but I just doing stand up is.
But there does come a point where because I really hate the concept of grinding. Like I understand the what you get out of it, but man, as a human being, sometimes you're just like I just need a little bit of space here to like become
I did. I used to do that too when I used to come here right before this happened which was late 2017. It was I would shoehorn everything. I would do 2 shows a night, as many nights as I could, because it's not something you can do when you live here. So I loved it that I could come back in here, do good shows, and do a ton of them.
Get them all in a week.
I would do podcasts during the day. I would do whatever. I would get whatever I possibly could. And now I cannot do that. I have to factor in rest days. It's like someone just saying, like, it's just being tired all the time, like, because you're grinding. And then you saying, well, it's not all or nothing. You know what I mean? So, like, coming back isn't like, well, I can't do it like that, so I can't do it. How about I just try and do it, like, in the laziest way possible, in which I'm still getting something out of it. And that's what I'm doing. Quality over quantity.
Yeah. You might have stumbled upon the perfect life-work balance for a comedian. It
is, but the thing is, my husband has a job. He can support me. I'm on his health insurance. I have a life. So I am so grateful for that, because it would be, if comedians sort of got paid for how great they are, it would be awesome if people didn't have to sort of feel like they had to drive 6 hours to Sacramento to get 20 minutes for $100 or whatever, just to sort of fit in. But I get it, that is, it's nice, but and also the want to do stand up all the time. I think it's something that it's difficult to turn off, but my body was like, it's turned off. You can't.
There is like an actual something to stop you. But it is true that it's sort of in your blood and it's hard to get it out, and you can be away from it for a little while, but there's always just like, I don't know.
I want to go up.
If you don't do it for a while.
Show. Yeah. Oh, I was afraid. I was really afraid that when I was going to really start up again this year, really kind of, actually, do. I mean, like I was doing shows last year, but it's mostly just to sort of not do them.
Yeah.
Or whatever that means to mean what I meant. And but I was really afraid that I was going to come back, and I go to therapy every week, thank God. And she does a really great job at understanding this when there's no reason she should.
Yeah.
But just, the idea of, how am I going to be if I start again? Am I going to be good? And you know what? I am fucking funny, and I was fine.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a little bit to sort of like settle into it. And a lot of it is completely embracing how I feel when I'm on stage, which at some times is a little bit tired and slow, but I'm already slow on stage. Like, I'm a little like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little sort of like deliberate.
You were never super high energy to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it's been that's felt really good.
Yeah.
It's probably really great for my brain that I do that, because it's like forcing it to like sort of like hit all these synapses.
And it also just feels like, especially if you're working towards an album now as like a goal, it feels like it's bringing you sort of more in the moment, in the present. Like you are acknowledging how you feel. Like it just sort of it gives it a nice perspective that's I think going to be unique and make it a unique perspective.
And actually, like for my album, because I can't do stand up for 45 to an hour, the way, and it'll be put out by a Special Thing Records sometime in 2020. The way that we're going to do it is I'm actually going to go to a few different cities and do shows, and the album will be a collection of 15 to 20 minute sets from those shows, not and I want them to be thematically, separate, and so it's not going to be like edited together. It'll be like, live in Austin, live in, Minneapolis, live in LA, live in Philly, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But all put out as one album. So
it's the necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Like you've basically, this is how it has to be done.
And it's nice
to
to only listen to like 15 to 20 minutes at a time.
Those millennials are going to
You're a millennial.
Those kids are gonna love it. But now that we've talked about that, and I'm very I'm legitimately, as someone who knows you, I'm very excited to see what comes of this, because I think I like your attitude towards it and how you're embracing it. I think it's gonna be very nice. But I do want to talk about exit strategies, like if you, and it also doesn't. I should probably preface this before the podcast, is that everybody interprets the question in a different way. Some people take it very much down the line. This is what I'm going to do the second I stop, and step 2 is this. Some people are just like, you know what? I could probably be a good astronaut. So feel free to answer the question as however you want. But what would be something...
So you don't want me to say, like, if I didn't do stand-up, like, do you know what I'm doing right now? I do lots of things.
Yeah.
I'm learning French.
Yeah.
I'm really into politics, so I read a lot of I do the crossword puzzle, New York Times crossword puzzle every day.
Yeah.
I read, books, comic books. And so I have a lot of things I do other, I go to the gym. I like to run when I can. So I have a lot of other things that I like to do. But like if we're hypothetically pretending that if I didn't do stand-up, I would just resign to a life of leisure, I will tell you what I would probably do is I'd go back to school.
Yeah.
So I'm married to an academic. He did his undergrad at Penn. He did his doctorate at Harvard. He is an evolutionary biologist. Woo. Both of his parents work at are Harvard doctors. They both have like they don't practice. They both have like one's like the head of the Public Health Institute, and the other one works at Boston Women and Children's.
Brilliant
and
minds.
So they're very so they're So I say to my family is not like that. They're not academics. They're great, and my twin sister has a tattoo parlor in Minneapolis. My older sister works for an Indian casino in Minnesota, and so when I say to my husband, I would be really nice because I like learning stuff,
Yeah.
And I said I would really like to go back because I have an undergrad for University of Wisconsin, class of '98, go Badgers, and.
All right.
And you know who I went to school with? Jim Hamilton, Nate Craig, Pete
Really?
Carboni. Yeah, there's a lot of us that came out of this. Yeah. It was funny. I didn't start doing stand-up till way later, but we all did comedy-adjacent stuff. That's how we kind of know each other. But I've said in front of my husband, like I would really like to go back and do like, sociology or poli-sci or history, like something where I would, learn about all that stuff. And he's like, you don't need to go. He just thinks of the way, like if you're not going to get a job. But before I did stand up and while I did stand up, I was a web developer and a project manager. So even when I lived here, up until the time I lived in Europe, I was making a very good living and doing stand up well at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and I still love like web stuff. I still read about it and do stuff. I don't want, now that I haven't worked for anybody or with anybody for a long time, I don't really want to go back to that.
Yeah.
But I truly and absolutely loved like having a job to go to and working on projects. And I worked for a lot of fun places. So I think that the thing that I would do beyond that is, like I said, I would just like, and when I went to school, when I was young, I went right out of, I was 17 when I went to college. I think the first year or two I had a really good GPA, and then after that I just kind of stopped going to class. barely I was on academic probation a couple times, barely sort of just eked out a diploma.
Yeah.
And I would just like to go back to school and to just fucking kill it.
Like now I know what's up. And to be really
good and have fun, like not just try and get out of everything. You know what I mean? And half-ass it. My older sister, who has never went to college, who's very smart, very funny. She is a few years older than me. She was moved up as far as she could at her job, and she's like, well, I have to have a degree to go any farther. And she's like, well, finally, she said, I'm going to go do community college or whatever. And I knew this was going to happen, but she's getting straight A's. And then she comes back and she says, well, I've decided that I'm going to transfer to a university after 2 years. And, they do most of it online now for all these things, which is amazing. And where you just go in for like maybe one class, you know what I mean? And then a lot of the other stuff is done online, which I cannot relate to. But, and she's killing it, and I'm kind of jealous of her because she wants it. She wants to learn. She has all that life information, life lessons, life learned.
Yeah, doing it a second time as an adult, you're like, okay, now I kind of know there's value maybe where I didn't see value before.
I do not regret going to school. I don't like it that people have massive debt, but a lot of people that say, oh, you don't get anything. For me, I found myself at college.
Yeah.
I figured out because I grew up in rural Wisconsin. I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison, class of 98, go Badgers. And
go Badgers.
But I found out that it was in 94 when I went to school. So the first graphical web browser came out shortly thereafter. I was like, I want to make a website. I learned how to make websites. That ended up being my career. I also started doing a lot of public access TV comedy stuff, sketch comedy. I was not a performer. I was just a writer and a producer. And when I moved to Austin after college, I moved in 99. In 2000, I started doing stand-up. And so, and all the friends that I made, that I'm still friends with now, so that I feel like you go in thinking, I thought I wanted to be a journalist, a broadcast journalist. I feel like I wish it wasn't so expensive, but I wish everybody could have that experience to be able to have those 4 years where you're just learning stuff and meeting people, and even if you fucking don't go to class and get C's,
you're still figuring out
very
valuable life lessons.
I think tech schools are great, and if you want to say I'm going to be a plumber, but I also think just having that time, just sort of, you're in a dorm, you have some sort of like structure and supervision that you can shirk at some point, it's set up to sort of for kids to get drunk without, mostly not dying.
Mostly.
And
Go Badgers.
so I think that that has value. I know it did for me.
Well, now that you've done that, now going back a second time, now it's just straight up for the books. Baby.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love to especially since my husband thinks he's so great because he's a fake doctor. Well, not a fake doctor. I say that because he's not medical.
Yeah.
And Dr. Platt, I want to do. The only thing I wouldn't want to do is the thesis. That seems incredibly boring.
There's going to be
have to write.
Moment,
I wouldn't
the work.
Well, that part, that sort of long book thing.
Yeah.
Unless I got to do something. How about I do a 45-minute set. And that's my thesis.
But how nice would it be to go just walk into the kitchen and slam down that diploma? I'm a doctor too.
Yeah, I'm a doctor too, Alex. But it is nice. I do things like I said. Like I learned German when I lived in Vienna.
Yeah.
I speak Spanish and learning French right now. I'm going to Paris in a couple weeks. I should point out.
It sounds like you just want to keep learning and like you keep learning and doing. That's seems to be
amassing.
Yeah.
This like sort of I like to feel that like I'm bettering myself in some way, you know. And I don't care if other people, like I know I'm saying it on a podcast that people are going to listen to, but a lot of it's just for me.
Yeah.
That's why I feel productive.
Who else does it have to be for?
Yeah, I know.
Let me ask you one last question about
the
university path. Just as a fun something I'd like to know. If you could, where are you doing this? Is it a particular university? Let's say they're all at your disposal.
Right now, I'd probably go to Penn or Drexel.
Yeah,
because they're like a mile from my house, and my husband's about to start working at Penn. Penn is like, Penn is where and also Penn is where my MS doctor is. It's all perfect.
It's a one-stop shopping for life.
But no, Penn is literally like a 5-minute trolley ride or like a 15-minute walk.
Yeah,
yeah. I would. And Penn's Ivy League. You know.
Yeah.
So
shoot for the sky. They're
why
the best.
not shoot for the sky? Shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the
Sky's
sky.
low. Sky's right here. We're in the sky.
Yeah, there's no air up there. I don't know slogans. Okay. Anyway, I want to see more of Michelle in academia.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be a perfect outlet for you. Mm-hmm. This might just happen.
It totally could. I might do the album and be like, okay, now I'm done. Like honestly, right now, all I'm thinking is like get to the album and then after that I'll decide. But I at least want to do the album.
Maybe the album's the thesis.
You're right. Maybe I'll give myself a diploma. You're a doctor.
You can do that.
Yeah. Maybe
it's like how people
it's a digital download.
Yeah.
That, like maybe that's what I give everybody. Like I'll just give them a doctorate, like from my university, and then you get that with.
It's like how people get ordained to marry their friends.
I see.
Yeah,
okay,
you're giving out doctorates.
I was confused for a second.
Well, let me tell you something. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back.
Oh, I thought we were done.
Oh no, we've got to do one last part. Oh. See, you're going to need money to get into this university.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the opportunity I want you to sell out big time.
Okay.
We're going to take a little break. You're going to choose the sponsor for this week's episode. And maybe, just maybe, that company or product will hear this and say, Michelle Biloon, we got to get her back up a Brinks truck worth of money to her house. She's the new spokesperson for this.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're going to come back with more.
I got a great voice, too.
What?
I've got a great, pitching voice.
Maybe we'll get we can come up with some copy, and you can we get a reel going.
Fantastic.
We'll see, time permitting. We're going to be back with more Michelle Biloon right after this. I gotta say, Michelle, hotel recording. I kind of like it. It makes me feel like I'm like a journalist or something. I'm from Rolling Stone, and I came into your hotel to interview you.
Oh yeah, you look like that guy from Almost Famous that I can't think of. That Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace.
Played. Something.
No,
something.
we can't.
We're
not
gonna.
Yeah, it is something.
We're not going to pull it. We'll dub it in.
I can't. No, I don't know why you can't. I know why, because I've got lesions on my brain. You have no excuse.
Everything's all about the lesions on the brain
right?
here.
I can't stop it. I want to bring everybody down.
But I like it. I think I'm going to reserve this room and turn it into my podcast junket. I'm just going to have people come in and out all day.
Perfect.
And then when you need to visit, we'll obviously give preference to you because this is your hotel of choice.
I don't need your permission. I've got this place wrapped around my finger.
I've booked my next 20 vacations. Oh, they're not vacations.
I'm sorry. I don't want to tell people what the name of this hotel is, but that would also be a good thing for me to plug.
Oh yeah, to get a little free. Yeah. We don't want to disclose that.
No, I can't.
We don't want
Although some people who are friends of mine, if they do listen to the podcast, they do know where this is because they know that I stay here all the time.
If you think you're in good with Michelle, ask her.
Yeah, ask me where I stay.
But if you don't know Michelle, just find your own hotel. There's a great Best Western down the street.
I will individually tell people if they want to reach out to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you heard it here first.
As long as you're not a creepo.
That's tall. It's the internet.
And don't try to be funny.
This is just because you need travel tips.
Yeah, you just need travel. Just facts.
So apparently, the sponsor for this week's episode is not going to be this unnamed hotel. But Michelle, I got to ask you. We don't have Warby Parker or Stamps.com.
This fits right. I don't. You know what?
We got to know who's the sponsor.
I don't think that they advertise in podcasts or advertise at all.
This could be a first podcast.
I am obsessed with all things made by, and I don't even honestly know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but Anker. It's Anker. They make electronics. You get them on Amazon. And my thing is that people. It drives me fucking crazy. Put that on your ad. Is that when I see people using those little white bricks to charge their phone that have no voltage at all.
Yeah.
And you're using it and you're charging it, and yet don't you notice that you're still losing power? You need to get, and I have 5 of them in this room. There's a couple in my bag. There's one that I use a USB port.
Is that
that's
one
over
that
there.
we're looking at right there?
Yeah, and there's a quick charge on it. You need to go and get yourself. There's different kinds, but I have the kind of sort of the battery packs, and I have ones where I take them into hotels. They have the USB hub on them, and they charge your. It will blow your mind. I have sent them to my friends out of frustration, and then they have gotten down on their knees and written sort of odes to me to thank me that so much. They didn't realize they didn't have to suffer any longer. But no, they're great. And so it's just a quick charge, and there's ones that are $13-$14. There's ones that are $50 or $100.
Yeah. What model are you rocking? Do you have top of the line?
I've got literally 20. We have them all over our house. I've got a couple in my carry-on bag, one that sort of does 3 or 4 full charges.
You just open a closet at Michelle's house and they all tumble.
No, is that what you think my house is like?
No,
you think there's a closet you open up and there's something? No, I don't think so. But I'm there should be a charger here. I'm buying one.
Yeah.
I need to get cords. But no, in the one that I have, which I've had, this one, you plug it into the wall and there's a USB hub, so you don't. It's not like a battery charger where you need to, it's how many full charges you can get. Yeah. This one's just plugged in, but some of it has one port that's the extra quick charge where you get the most juice out of it, but your phone has to be compatible with it. And the rest of them are still plenty quick. And
but you're making your life easier because I tell you what, this is my situation. Here, I'm a dumbass. Plugging in my iPhone brick.
Do you use your iPhone brick?
Behind a table every night, and then the outlet is one of those ones.
Are you joking?
No, the outlet is that's one of those outlets that doesn't quite grab it, so that you just nub it and it slides right out.
You have no if you were my husband or one of my friends who hears me talk about this.
Michelle is about to puke. She's so disgusted.
Also, I was holding back a burp, but which I guess is about to puke. But
it's pretty much, yeah.
But Jeff, I swear to God, if by yourself, just go on and just get it. Oh, and I should just give it to you. I have an outlet
swag
charger.
Bag.
I have. Oh shit, it's right here. Oh my God. Okay, so here is. Hey, do me a favor. Do you see that black thing? The black folder over there, the black. It's underneath it is a bag. Grab that bag.
Okay,
there's 2
hold
things.
on.
Okay,
all right, hold on, everybody.
This
We're
is
getting
one of the batteries.
A pure product testimonial here.
I want to show you, one of the.
This one. I think I found it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in there, that white thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the 2 battery chargers I have. So this one. Only has 1 or 2 full charges, but this one you can feel how heavy it is.
Whoa,
this one's
that's
a
got some
newer one,
heft.
And that one has has a lot more juice, so you can't get rid of it.
You're like an arms dealer. She's opening up suitcases, and there's items that she's going to be
just get one
$700 for the whole bunch.
So this is an Anker charger.
And you just plug it in, except it's not a brick. It's going to hold. It's going to stay.
Is this an Anker? Oh, my God.
She doesn't. Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's the power gen.
Okay, so
oh my God.
We might need to redact.
I wonder how many volts this is. Maybe I will just give it to you.
Well,
this one is.
I only want it if it's an Anker brand.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, there we go. You're right, Jeff. I don't know why I thought that this would suffice.
I think your original.
You know how much I'm trying to stop myself from throwing this away in the garbage right now? But I'm not going to.
Don't throw it away in the garbage.
I know,
That's electronics.
I know.
I believe your original tagline was you know what really fucking pisses me off, or something along those lines. So you say,
When
hi, I'm Michelle Biloon, and you know what really fucking pisses me off? And then you do your Anchor spot.
Yes. No, but I could not feel more strongly about it, and I still don't know why people don't understand that those bricks are worthless.
Oh, I know they're worthless. I didn't know there was another way.
Can I just ask you, Jeff? Are you taking what I'm saying to heart, and are you going to go on your Amazon? Do you have Amazon Prime?
I don't have Prime.
Are you sort of one of those people who actually cares about the fact that people get overworked and underpaid?
Yeah, I'm not a big Bezos fan.
Oh God, it's terrible, isn't it? I can't stop myself though.
Okay.
We
I
get
thought
our
you were
groceries from Amazon.
I thought you were
Fresh.
going to be like, God,
No.
shut up about.
No, I feel bad. I feel bad that it's one. There's lots of things I don't eat at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I've been able, not, but I've never really cared about.
That
it.
one's an easier one.
I know
to
for some
manage,
people it's not, but but for I can't. I'm sorry. Amazon. I'm not. I deleted Facebook. I'm off of Facebook.
I'm close.
And so,
yeah.
And so, but yeah, I can't quite separate myself from Amazon.
But you're asking if I'm going to hop on Amazon and get myself an Anker charger
Yeah.
for how much? How much we talking? What's our retail on this one?
Well, do you want to get just a wall charger? Or do you want to get something like mine where you can plug in like the wall chargers? A lot of times have 2 USB ports on them. So if that's good for you,
That's what I need. One for me and one for the wife.
okay.
His and hers USB port.
You guys share the same side of your bed?
Well, no, this is just like I'm thinking like the living room.
Oh, okay, for sure. But the living room, well, regardless, the sort of the sort of you can get both the lower end of both of those for like under $20, like 14, 15, and there's sales all the time.
Yeah.
If you follow, do you RSS feed at all? If you
don't.
follow Kinja deals, they always like. I swear to God, Anker's having like charges like a sales at least like once a month, and they're charging stuff.
This is like a real. You're giving like it's like there's not a promo code, but you're kind of doing the work here on this.
Yeah,
one.
I mean it's. Just,
I wish there was a way that we could funnel some of that your way. Some of the people are going to listen. They're going to buy them, and they're going to be like, Michelle sent me, and they're not.
That's enough for me, honestly.
Just so the company.
That's enough for me.
Moves forward and makes more.
And can I just, yes, let's stick with that.
All right, Anker, you heard it here.
Yeah.
Michelle is an ardent supporter and would love some, prototypes.
Yeah, and listen, I don't want to then now someone to tell me, like, there's a lot of things I don't want to hear about, like someone doing something really horrible. Like, GoDaddy shoots, zebras or whatever. Like, please just keep your Anker, like shit talking to yourself. I'm not going to stop.
Okay, yeah. Even if Anker does something, some real corporate
Please don't start
irresponsibility.
making stuff up. Please don't. Michelle, will you sign a contract saying even if Anker sets up detention camps?
If it comes to light that there have been detention camps at the Anker headquarters.
Yeah, then sign here. Okay, I guess.
Well, until we
it.
find out that that is the case, Anker is your sponsor. Go out and get yourself, outfit the home and tell them Michelle sent you.
Start out with a couple. They're great for travel, and
spread
then
them out.
And you will. The thing about it is that the first time you use it, you'll be like, "Oh, she was right. I didn't know that my phone could actually charge." When you're like, "Oh shit, my phone is dying, and I have to leave the house in 20 minutes. I'm fucked."
Whammo!
You plug it in, and you can actually get a decent amount of charge back.
I think that might be the new. That might be the new tag. Anker. Oh shit, she was right.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Anker.
it.
Oh shit, Michelle was right.
And then I smile and it goes ding on my tooth.
We've already got a storyboarded Anker.
Perfect. And it might be Anker. I'm sorry. I've never heard you say your own name. So
we'll iron that out.
It's Anker.
Anker. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. Now, Michelle,
it's not our decision to make. I'm sure it's pronounced a certain way.
Well, I'm hoping they'll get back to us.
Okay, good.
Michelle, if people are listening and they want to know more about you, if they want to know more about where they might see you, where is a good spot to find out more about Michelle Biloon?
I have a website, biloon.com. You could go there, but really follow me on Twitter. I post most on Twitter. I also post on Instagram. And I just started. My new thing is I was very reluctant to do stories. I just thought, oh, God, it reminded me of Snapchat, which was like not for me. But some friends of mine were doing real funny stories, and I was like, I think I'm going to start it. So as of a week ago, I've been doing a couple a day. Yeah. So follow me on Instagram. I'm also at Biloon, and that's BILOON. And I would love to see you there and interact with you.
Watch the progression of the stories.
I sailed in at A+. I don't even think there's. I'm just kidding. I'm already at the stars, Jeff.
Michelle's like, yeah, I got a deal.
Yeah. I had to turn it down. I said, no.
I got to do the podcast.
I just do this for the art.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Michelle Biloon. Michelle, thank you for being on. Thank you for making time in your vacation.
Well, let me just say thank you for coming to my hotel because I was like, I do not have any time or extra effort to do this.
You're very welcome. This is the start of
You're very accommodating
sub-podcast exit strategy, the Road Diaries, where I go out and interview people in their habitats.
And then you could have like a sort of like side podcast, those road diarrheas.
I want to have a lot of side podcasts.
Shitting your pants diarrhea stories are the
and I want them to get progressively more and more awful.
Oh, please. I love it already.
Well, you're going to be episode 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Michelle Biloon on Exit Strategy. Thank you again, Michelle.
You're welcome.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.